Hello everyone. Welcome to the HVAC Grapevine. I am Eric Kaiser. Thank you for tuning in to a new show about HVAC. Before we get to the live show tonight, I have in front of me the news. First up, lower GWP refrigerants. In case you have been living under a rock, there's a new generation of refrigerants coming to the industry called hydrofluoroolefins, or HFOs. And they're probably going to be here before most of us are ready for them. The reason we may not be ready for them is so far all of the lower GWP refrigerants coming to market have a safety classification of A2L, which is a relatively new class for the US market, and it sits at the low end of the A2 class that we've had for years. Now, while A2L refrigerants are new to US technicians, there have literally been millions of systems installed around the world in other parts utilizing these refrigerants. So there's a lot of safety and performance data available that we are going to be utilizing. Now, the A2L classification indicates that the refrigerant is capable of being ignited if a significant amount of heat is added while the refrigerant to air ratio are correct. But flame will not be sustained once the ignition source is removed. This means A2L refrigerants are not highly flammable like the A3 classification such as R290 or R600A. Now, due to the slight increase in flammability over the historical A1 classification we are used to working with, there will be some new safety precautions and procedures necessary when working with these refrigerants. So, I recommend everyone finding some training locally. There's going to be a lot of it out there. Get in to attend that training when it becomes available. Now, right now, most states are in the process of adopting necessary standards into their codes so that the equipment using A2L refrigerants can be installed in the state. Few states have already got this completed. Some manufacturers already have units hitting the market with A2Ls in them. Not a lot, but there's a few out there. Expect to see that changing over the next few months and years. R410A refrigerants, or the old HFC refrigerants that most of us are used to working with now, are going to be phased down over the next several years. There is no current plan to phase them out entirely, so service gas will be available for some time with those. A few of the refrigerants that we're going to be seeing in space conditioning units are things like R32 and R454B. Imagine there's probably going to be others coming along at some point as well, but that's what we're seeing right now. Another change coming to the industry in the near future is Sear 2 and HSPF 2. Now this is an update to the rating system of Sear and HSPF for cooling and heat pump units. Along with these changes to the rating system is going to be new regional efficiency standards, and all of this is going to be taking place January 1, 2023. So while this is a little bit away, it's probably a good time to start learning about this right now so that you are abreast of what's happening. You can speak intelligently to your customers if they have questions, and you have a plan for your business going forward, because there's probably going to be some equipment pieces that are going to be disappearing from your distributor throughout the end of the year, because some regions will have a requirement that the lower efficiency units are not allowed to be installed after January 1st. So jump online, do an internet search for Sear 2, and a lot of information is going to come up. You'll be able to learn about it there, or maybe talk to your distributor, whoever you buy your equipment from. On for some good news. Strong industry growth is in the forecast. I've looked at multiple reports indicating solid growth through the 2026 to 2027 timeframe. One report from 360 Research focused on the worldwide connected and smart controls market, which in 2020 was worth $2 billion worldwide. Their estimates are that that market will be worth $4.65 billion by the end of 2026, which in my opinion is pretty significant growth. Other forecasts are also showing strong growth all the way across the HVAC market. So, sounds like we're going to be busy for quite a while. Not any shortage of work. Anyway, that's all for the news for tonight. Remember, you heard it on the grapevine. And now, on to the live show.
Yo, Eric,
So,
you could work for CNN.
I'm way better than CNN. Are you kidding me?
That's right. That's a good jump into where our topic's going to go today, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
I'm going to start this off right. I get a little aggravated when people make the comment, college isn't for everybody.
Yeah.
You know?
How come?
Well, it bugs me, man. I didn't go to college, but when people say, hey, college isn't for everyone, you should go to the trades. It makes the trade seem like it's secondary to college.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you're not good enough.
Like I'm not good enough to go to college and knock college down.
So what are you saying? Do you think maybe the people that go to college aren't good enough to go to the trades?
I'm just wondering, maybe we get some people in the chat, and what if we were to spin that story and say something along the lines of, well, maybe HVAC's not meant for everybody.
Maybe not.
Right. But you know what? If you can't cut it in HVAC, you could go to college.
You could. Hey,
right?
let's take a poll about the three people on this screen here who's been to college.
I went for one day.
No,
so I don't know if that counts.
Straight to HVAC.
Not here.
I actually went to HVAC, and then I was working in the field, and then I was like, and I'm just going to go see if I want to do college. And I went for kids. I went to college for a day, and the teacher was in front of me, and he was super monotone. Right. It was just like blah, 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 blah. And I couldn't take it. And I was like, I'm sorry, I can't do this. I got up in the middle of the class. I was like, no, this is a big mistake. I'm sorry.
Gotta go.
Yeah. I was like, it was bad. I didn't even wait to the end of it. I was just like, no, this was the wrong move. I'm not there. I'm not getting this. I'm gonna go back to work.
Yeah, we had some recruiters from different colleges. They were like, oh, come on, sign up, And I was like, well, I'd like to do biology, a little bit. It's like, okay. Well, you got to take prerequisites. I was like, wait a minute. I just spent like 15 years doing classes. You want me to do 2 more years before I go to do what I like? I was like, oh, man, it sounds like a bad deal.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get into a subject. You know what I mean?
Well, let's not forget the debt ratio, right? It's like, we'll teach you what you want to know to do, but we need you to spend 2 years of your life learning other things first, and maybe about $50,000. And then we'll get on to what you really want to learn.
I mean, it's kind of funny. Like me, I of course, grew up around my dad. He went to college, and then he ended up working as one of the maintenance personnel at the college that he graduated from.
So did your dad ever give you the conversation of, hey, college isn't for everybody, being he was a college graduate? How did that go down?
I mean, my dad was kind of like anti-school in general, like anti-public school. I was homeschooled, never went to college.
Interesting. What about you, Mike?
We got a homeschooler.
Did you get college pressured on you when you were coming up?
Big time, man.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I didn't. Yeah.
Go ahead, Eric.
No, I was going to say I got a lot of college pressure, but it wasn't from my dad.
Oh, okay.
It's his wife.
No.
Well, she's
not from there.
She's the smartest person I've met in the last couple of months. So,
if you don't know Eric's wife, college happens every day in the Kaiser home.
Every day.
True story.
Yeah, it's a true story. All right.
Right around when I was graduating, it was like the big, everybody's going to college right now. Everybody's a graphic designer right now. It's the
Yeah.
year 2000.
Yeah, we're all influencers right now.
Really?
I like to think
We're
so.
influencing 14 people here.
Dude, I'm gonna say this right now. There would probably be 1,000 people here, and I know they want to be here. I blame AT&T
AT&T,
Right.
really? Why is it AT&T?
and Verizon. I don't know. It's got to be the grid. I
The
mean,
internet?
it's probably because we don't have enough technicians out there to make the AT&T grid better. See, this is why we need more people in the trades, and we need to encourage them because let it be HVAC, let it be communications. But if we had real techs out there getting it done, we would have tons of more people on this show right now.
Everybody wants
That's
a
what I
desk
think.
job.
I mean, do they? Do they?
I don't know. I miss being in the field a lot of days. I just like to go out in the garage and tinker with stuff now. But there's a lot of days I look out and I'm like, man, it'd be nice to be in a truck again.
Yeah. All right. A2Ls. So when you said a funny thing, man, service gas. Never heard anybody call it service gas before. Where does that come from?
Oh, that's the gas or refrigerant that we use to service things, keep it working, keep it running.
Yeah.
After it leaks out from all those leaking evaporator coils.
Sounds super professional, right? Service gas.
Yeah. Service.
Almost like a college
Not
way
installation.
to say
Not
it.
installation.
So no, it's interesting. What's up with A2Ls, man? Like, when are we going to see A2Ls prevalent in in distributors' hands?
I think we're going to see that within probably the next year.
Really?
Really I think 2023, we're really going to start to see that ramping up. There's already a few out there. Like Daikin has got some out there right now in R32. But
yeah, they've got a few. But
So if I call my rep right now, I might be able to get a unit for the house experiment.
I don't know about experimental. I mean, they're selling them.
Yeah,
One of the guys down there in
in.
Florida just put one of the first ones in the US in his house. I think he works for Daikin though, so he probably got a good deal on that.
Yeah, I seen that. I seen him posting the pictures of that. I didn't see anything explode. Or he cut that out of the video.
It's I have to laugh. It's I equate the A2L switch over to when we switched over to 410A. Now, y'all were around when we switched to 410A, or a lot of you were. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right. What was the big thing everybody was screaming about was going to happen?
It was going to blow up.
It was going to blow up.
Condenser coils are going to blow up.
They're just going to explode.
The refrigerant dries out your hands, and you like had to wear gloves. I remember this. It was like you got to wear gloves. The oil that travels with 410A is just going to dry out your hands so bad it's going to ruin them. I remember that being like this big ordeal.
I never heard that one.
Yep.
Yeah,
and
the oil does a little bit, but
yeah, but it was like gloves everywhere. Everybody has to wear gloves. The oil is dangerous. I remember that being a big push in my area.
You're gonna
he
die.
Talks to a glove manufacturer. That's why.
yeah.
Do they have a glove factory in your town?
Yeah.
Well, I do live next to all the plants, right? So PPE, personal protection stuff is prevalent and everywhere. What do you eat?
But when are we really going to see it? Oh, I'm just throwing a little ice in my.
I was about to say, man, are you that casual?
A little ice in my.
Look at that.
Oh, you got the house honorary alcohol there, huh?
House juice in my Cianfrocco cup.
Man, Cianfrocco is so calm. It's like this dude's been on show for like 1,000 years.
That's it.
He's like, show on,
he's
no big deal. I'm just gonna go over here and get drunk, right?
He's got his own cup and everything.
I'm just gonna make a little ice, just a little ice noise over here. That's all.
I'm just gonna stick with my sweet tea like a true Southerner, right?
Just mute me, if I make too much noise.
I'm supposed to be trying to diet, but it's not working out very well.
I'm on a seafood diet.
House told me I was fat last week.
Damn.
Just straight up. He's like,
everybody in this world is fat. That's the house.
And he was like, man, you're fat.
If you want the truth, you call up House. He'll tell you the truth.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Dead honest truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
You don't sugarcoat nothing.
Mm-mm.
But
That's why we love it.
when are we gonna like start seeing these A2L in the like all of a sudden they're gonna spring it on us? We're like, all right,
Well, I think
I
it's
need
going
a
to be
3-ton. Sudden it's an A2L.
the biggest thing holding everybody back right now that I can see is probably the fact that a lot of the state codes are not up to allowing them to go in to be installed yet. So a
Okay.
lot of the states have to get their codes updated to actually allow them to be installed and train the inspectors so they know what they are looking at, things like that. Now,
Right.
that all depends on whether or not your state has codes and inspectors that anybody follows, because like where I live, it's kind of the wild, wild west out here, or the wild, wild Midwest.
Through my travels, I think everywhere is the wild, wild west. Every time I go visit someone, I'm like, what do y'all do here? And they're like, man, it's the wild, wild west. And I'm like, yeah, no, that's everywhere.
It really is, man. I mean, everybody that thinks their state is the worst hasn't gone to the other 49 yet.
That's right.
I don't know. My buddy's in Iowa. He does like handyman stuff, and he goes, "Yeah, I put in an AC unit last week." I was like, "You don't need extra licensing for that." He's
Absolutely
like, no.
not.
Licensing?
Yeah.
What's that?
Did you not hear what he said? Handyman. Okay.
Yeah.
It means he can do anything
And everything.
and everything. Yeah.
Absolutely right. The first time, every time.
He's probably got an EPA card that's written in Braille. You know what I'm saying? That I'm a handyman.
I moved to Florida in 2004. You didn't even need to wear a seatbelt when I moved down here. Now it's like little New York. Like you need a permit to pee in the woods. It's crazy, man.
You need a what to do what?
You need a permit for everything.
Did you say you need a permit to pee in the woods?
Yeah.
Have you told Nathan Orr about that yet?
No.
just I'm like, pretty sure he pees everywhere with no permit.
I was gonna say, is that an inside joke? There's a lot of inside Nathan Orr jokes.
All right, so do you think I have a question, Eric? You would know.
I don't
Sear,
know.
you don't, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Sear 2, right?
The
You're
second
bringing up
Sear.
Sear 2, the second Sear. Are these new refrigerants in Sear 2, or is that kind of like going to be a push that's like together? Are we going to see Sear 2 equipment with the new refrigerants coming in as like a package deal?
I don't know. We'll see. Probably. I would imagine that all of the new units, when they put the new refrigerants in them, will be Sear 2 tested.
Okay.
That would be my guess. If I was a manufacturer, that's what I would do, because why spend the money to do it the old way when you're testing that piece of equipment anyways? So you may as well do the newest, latest, and greatest testing on it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to be honest. I don't know what the logistics are of having like the Sear 2. If they have to test it, if it's before January 1, 2023, if they have to test it under the old Sear rating and the new Sear rating, I haven't looked that deep into it.
That just affects the blower performance, right? Because it's the static rating.
No, there's more to it than that, I believe. But Jason Orbitz just said some manufacturers will do both at the same time. Okay.
Yeah.
And what, Jason, just to be clear,
Jason knows everything.
Mr. Know-It-All, Jason.
Is that Objute?
Yeah. Is he saying, Jason, when you say both at the same time, are you saying that new refrigerant and Sear 2 will come out at the same time, or they'll test in the factory for both at the same time? Just to make sure. Just want to be clear. Type faster.
I think they may test both at the same time, but like I say, it's going to be. I
wonder what the pricing's going to look like on A2Ls. Like if you go buy a drum of A2L refrigerant, is price going to be relatively cheap compared to 410A to encourage the movement? Kind of like what happened with 410A.
I don't know. I would guess that it's probably going to be somewhere in line. I really haven't looked at the pricing on it, because like the two main ones right now are R32. Which of course Daikin's had for years, and overseas, and a lot of overseas European, Asian stuff uses R32. And then R454B is the other big one that's going to come to the US. That's what Carrier committed to. I think they're marketing it as Puron Advance. So, there was a lot of marketing geniuses sitting in the room when they came up with that name. But it's a mix of R32 and 1234YF, which is what all the cars
car refrigerant
use now.
I'm just wondering how guys are gonna roll around with all these extra tanks on their truck.
Well, I mean, I said this a few years back that we really ought to just all get our CDL and start driving semi trucks around. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, labor rate will only go up another $50 an hour to cover the gas and the extra insurance.
Well, I mean, the fuel mileage on those semi trucks isn't that much worse than a van, right?
Yeah,
what do those vans get? 10 miles to the gallon.
You'll be buying diesels and trying to push them for 500,000 miles rather than the unloading the van once it hits 200,000.
Yeah,
and then you gotta sweep nitrogen every time you work on a system, right? Purge it out, right?
You know what? There's not going to be a lot of difference in what we should be doing right now and what you'll have to do. Right.
Air quotes.
Should be. Exactly.
Should be.
What we should be doing now and what you're going to have to do with A2Ls. The difference is there's going to be some extra calculations that have to be done with regards to the amount of refrigerant that's in the system and the amount of volume in the house, because there's going to be different management systems and there's going to be leak sensors on a lot of this stuff. So basically, if you're going to have what's called active and passive management, active management is where it will close a solenoid or shut part of the system off or pump the system down and hold the refrigerant in the outdoor unit if you get an indoor refrigerant leak.
Mm-hmm.
Where a passive is just going to be a thing where it sets off an alarm.
And the fan relay, right? That's apparently manufacturers are going to have to turn the fan on if you have like a leak, because the solution to pollution is dilution. They're just going to let the refrigerant circulate with the rest of the house rather than it being contained in the air handler area.
Correct. And that's to keep the oxygen or air fuel ratio down, because you got to have like 15. What were we looking at? Jason just talked about this out in the HVAC Excellence Conference. And I think it was like almost 15% refrigerant in the air in order to get it to ignite at all.
Mm-hmm.
So
not flammable as we thought it was going to be.
No, it's not nearly as flammable as what we thought it was going to be. And you have to like basically put a torch to it to get it to ignite.
Well, I was, Carter Stanfield, I sat in his class. This was at FRACA, and he had a really interesting slide where he said there was a test done where they took like a 15 kW heat kit, and they turned it on, jumped the limit switch to it to where it would just get hot, 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 and eventually burn out. And they slowed the airflow down to like something crazy low. And they just let an A2O refrigerant pass across it, and it wouldn't catch on fire. And then eventually the heating element burned in too. It got so hot, and there was never a flame that was captured. That was the slide that did it for me.
The reason is because the heating element, even though it's red hot, was still didn't have enough heat energy coming off of it to ignite.
Yeah, right. You got to have, basically got to have like a torch held in front of it to actually catch this stuff on fire.
Pretty much. So, and then once you take that heat source away or that ignition source, like if you take the torch away, the flame goes out, because the burning, the speed at which it propagates, the molecules are essentially too far apart.
That was a big word.
I know. You gotta use them sometime. Okay. The
sure you didn't go to college?
The speed at which no, but I've got my wife. She teaches me these big words. We read a book every night before we go to bed. It's big words.
Nice.
No, not really. But anyways, so essentially the molecules are too far apart in the gas to keep that flame continuously burning. So as soon as you take that ignition source away, the flame's going to go out.
Yeah, this is.
the science guy.
Sorry, that guy.
So basically, I wasted all my money dumping money into stocks for nitrogen, Band-Aids, and burn cream. That's what you're telling me?
Nitrogen?
Well, I figured we'd be sweeping
Sweeping.
nitrogen.
He's talking about sweeping.
Oh, you mean
Sweeping.
you're actually going to start purging nitrogen while you braise?
Yeah.
It's about
Yeah.
time.
I don't want to blow
It's
up.
time. Enough fear mongering has came to him to where he's like,
Yeah.
"Damn, I got to do this now."
Yeah,
now I'm going to use nitrogen.
You do want to.
You might as well go ahead and get a recovery machine while you're at it.
You do want to. You do absolutely want to have a nitrogen swept in there, because especially if you're going to be applying a torch to it, you don't want it to hit that and kind of do like what oil does when it comes out of a system. You know, we get flames shooting out of a system with something like R22 or 410A when it's high pressure refrigerant in there and there's oil carried out with it. The oil burns.
Yeah,
We got a good
I've
question.
seen a guy do that. He did a compressor and he didn't, have the cores open, man. He just pressurized the whole system.
Mm-hmm.
We
Hot
gotta-
oil all over his face. Everything was bad.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Listen to Brian Orr. Come on.
So Rick asks a question. He says, "Coil in an attic begins to leak. Furnace ignites. What happens?" That's a good scenario.
Oil in the
there.
attic, furnace ignites. What happens?
I
I'm
would
going to say
say-
probably nothing.
I would say probably nothing. I would also like to ask the question, what kind of attic?
Well,
Not
okay.
that that's a huge role player, but is it a foamed attic? Is it a vented attic? I mean, there's a different
so let's
amount
just
of air.
let's just say that it's, it gets into the burner somehow. It's a non-condensing furnace, or it's a non-direct vent furnace. It gets over to
Yeah.
the burner somehow, because typically if a coil's leaking, it's probably going to be in the airstream, right? It's not going to be it's not going to be leaking into the attic air most of the time.
it's after the burner, right?
Right. Well, no,
Yeah.
the burners are separate. The burner flame is separate from where that coil's leaking, because the coil is going to be leaking into the house air stream, not into
Right.
the combustion air.
It's downstream, the coil.
What's
Yeah.
separate because of the ductwork.
No,
Because of
it's
the
a good
fire.
point. The coil will be downstream, so
But
there's
it'll be
very, very,
downstream.
very little chance that
But
you're
your
ever
fan-
going to get.
Your fan probably isn't going to be on.
Well, that's why I brought up, is it like a foamed attic? Because if it's foamed, then there's a potential that gas will make its way back to the attic and get captured. But I still think there's enough dilution and house air.
Yeah, it's not
to-
going to be that bad. And that's why we're saying that it's really low flammability.
Yeah. I mean, you have to
Right.
literally you'd have to take your, acetylene oxygen torch and like,
And
burn
even
it
if you
to
do
even
get a
make it.
little bit of it, say you get a concentration high enough coming into the combustion air of that furnace, I'm going to say it's probably not going to come back out of the furnace very far,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's going to, because we're pulling that air in there at a high velocity. So it's probably going to burn up in the heat exchanger. Now, this is my guess. I don't take this as gospel, but I'm going to say most of it's going to burn up in the heat exchanger.
Can we get your wife in here for confirmation? Can we get a
Bring her in.
chemist in here? What's exactly going to happen? Can't
Yeah,
play
so
these. Can't
there's
play
what
these
Jason's
guessing
saying.
games.
If there's a leak in the during heat season, the RDS, the refrigerant detection system, will most likely lock out the heat in the AC unit and run the blower.
Yeah, which somebody mentioned costs. I'm sure that's going to drive up costs.
I mean, there's going to be some cost increases because of this, I would imagine. But like everything else, it's going to go off to the consumer, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
we're not in a business to not make money here.
No, speaking of making money, there's a guy who's calling in right now.
Oh, we got a caller?
We got a call in. So
Sweet.
hold on, I'm going to play it. Give me just a second. Let's see what he's got to say.
Okay, turn on our caller.
All right.
Hey, Johnny Supertech over here. I just want to say I appreciate what you guys are doing. I mean, I don't really need to hear any of it, but Lord knows there's plenty of us out here that do. Lord knows I am tired of playing janitor out here cleaning up all this mess. I'm getting a call. Guys, I'm going to have to let you go. It's my buddy Doc Comfort calling in. I'll have to talk to you guys later.
Oh,
Well,
that didn't take long.
Well, that didn't take long. He must be on service call.
He must be kind of late to be running service calls, but
I know.
Jessica said she was out running service calls tonight too. So
You know, Johnny makes that money, man. I'll tell
I
you
don't know
that,
about that guy.
that dude's a hustler.
That dude, yeah.
He gets it done.
He's super tech.
Does anybody know
Yeah.
who he works for?
Yeah. There used to be 2 owners,
Yeah.
right?
I don't know.
Mo and Ron used to own it together. I think they called
Mo?
it. Yeah, it was called Moron's air conditioning.
Morons.
Moron air conditioning. Oh, all right. Well, that works out well.
Morons.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
got to
man.
get Johnny on here and talk to him sometime.
I think so. I think we should get Johnny and Doc Comfort on this show at the same time.
I think we
That
should
would, yeah.
Bring him in.
call that a
Gotta get-
Cajun cluster.
It'd be a good show.
Cage fight.
Cage fight.
We'll have to see if Doc Comfort can make it.
We
You know
might
what I
have to do that. Yeah. I don't know. Doc Comfort. He kind of keeps to himself. He's kind of a quiet guy, I think.
He's been quiet
Yeah.
lately.
He has been quiet. We're calling out Doc Comfort. We'd like to see some Doc Comfort content out there. Anybody knows him, knows how to get in touch with him, we'd like to have him on the show.
He's been doing
Yeah.
a lot of
Just
DR Horton jobs, I think. So
Ooh.
Ooh, do we want to even go there?
That's all. I mean, I gotta commend him for doing all that work, right? Because that's like
He
never
sits there in the
ending.
pod.
It's never ending work right there, right? he will never be not busy.
Ugh, ugh, ugh.
that's a whole
Well-
other podcast, huh?
Oh
Well,
my
guys,
God.
we enjoyed doing the show, but being we're about to get sued, it's been fun. It's been real. And that's the end of the Grapevine show.
Sorry for flushing that one.
If you'd like to catch the sequel, it'll happen in court. That's where it's going to take place.
This is the shortest
Yeah.
show in the history of.
Catch us on AM radio and C-SPAN.
Yeah. 3 months
I
of build
tried-
up, one show. That's how we roll.
I tried
Stay
to
tuned
roll
for our
us out
next
on,
venture.
on AM radio, man. It's hot right now.
Yeah.
AM radio.
AM radio.
Not
Yeah,
a
what do you-
song.
Are you putting
couldn't-
us out on like those like AAA ball leagues? Oh, Jenry's in here. He plays for like a AAA ball league. Hey, Jenry, if we could get some marketing, you know what I'm saying? We'd like to market the Grapevine during your intermissions between innings if possible.
Maybe we can get a billboard out in right field.
Yeah, for
Right
sure.
field.
Yeah, I like it. All
Not
right,
left
where are we
field.
at?
Not
Not
left
left
field.
field.
I don't know.
Nope.
All right, so here's the deal, guys.
So, hey, maybe we ought to talk to these. What do we got now? 17 people watching us on YouTube. I don't know how many on Facebook.
Don't be counting numbers, man. Don't be
I
counting
can see
numbers.
that. Maybe we ought to.
It's not
Tell 'em a
about
little
the
bit
numbers,
about us.
guys. We
What?
do it because we love it. It's not about the numbers, Eric.
I know.
It's passion, baby.
It's
passion.
all about the numbers, man. We need 10,000 people. We got a hell of a long way to go.
We're no. Yeah. Well, you got to start somewhere, but I don't think
Jeez,
we're ever going to.
Tell your friends. Hell, get your kids in here watching. We got to get these numbers up.
I can't get my kids on. You're killing the internet. I just had to kick my son off of Fortnite. My lights are
Oh,
dimming. I got my
Oh,
wife on Netflix. I got my son on Fortnite. I got my daughter watching Hulu. I was like, I'm going to miss my own show. Guys are killing me over here.
Oh, man. All right, Eric.
But
what
we're
you
going to
saying?
talk
lost
about
me.
you. We were going to talk about what Eric does, and
Well, I
You
mean,
just
maybe
introduce?
maybe some of these people out of here don't know us.
Okay.
Like,
Eric,
we
did.
Who is
So we
Chris Hughes?
I have no idea.
Okay.
But we it's this guy who suckered this beautiful lady in to marry him. And
that's going too deep.
what a,
We're
what a
talking
sucker she
job
was.
related. Job related.
She's gullible, isn't she?
Yeah, she is. It's always one sucker in the bunch. All right. No, I'll play along. Why not? Who is Chris Hughes? All right, for those of you 17 that I haven't met yet, HVAC technician, right? Straight out of high school, went to trade school, jumped in the trade literally right out of high school. I was practically in high school doing air conditioner work. Worked directly underneath my dad pretty much my whole life. We mostly did commercial work, pumps, seals, cooling tower replacements, cleanings, air cooled chillers, a lot of water source, not geothermal though, mostly water source going back to the cooling tower, right? A lot of mechanical jobs, a lot of jobs where we dug up water pipes out of the ground, hired a lot of subcontractor crews where we repoured concrete after we did chiller water line repairs. Then I got into residential years later where we started taking on a lot of our clients who had really nice homes. There were specialty houses. And I remember a time like, turning these houses down and the owners of these buildings getting really mad. So this is how I got into residential, high performance. Is I had these owners and we might have a contract on a building where we have like $100,000 a year maintenance contract. And they're like, hey, we want you to do my house. Like, I really want you to do my house. And I'm like, man, I don't do houses. Like, I don't know how to do houses. Like, I knew there was science there, like manual J, manual D, manual S, to a blower door. Like, I knew it, but we weren't doing it, right? We would run the occasional residential service call. So I didn't want to like mess this house up. So I would tell him like, hey, yeah, I'll do it. Get an engineer to design it and I'm in. And try telling an owner that. And he's like, what? What do we need an engineer for? And I'm like, well, do you want to get it done right? There needs to be a plan. And at the time, I didn't understand residential that well to know that engineers wouldn't touch house designs.
Not normally, yeah.
Yeah, normally
retrofit.
Yeah, yeah. Be my guest, guys. Just go out there and go to that engineer and say, hey, I got this house. I really need a design and I need you to do it and see what kind of response you get. They're going to be like, yeah, no, I don't have time for that. That's the typical engineer response. They're like, no.
Yeah.
And so
did you got into residential right before I met you at the first symposium in Orlando?
I'd probably say 2 to 3 years before that. That's probably when and that's when I went through Rights Off training. I paid for it. I didn't have no free time to actually sit in the class during the day. So I recorded it and I watched Rights Off classes at night. And that's literally how I taught myself loads. And then at night, I was watching
Alex Meany videos, right?
Yeah. Well, not Alex, but I tell you what I did as I started to then having to do the loads for the owners that would come to me. I would call Alex and I would say, hey, I'll pay you whatever it takes. I just need you to get me from point B to point C to get this house load done. Like I'd do it. And I knew there'd be some minor flaws. So I'd call Alex and Alex was like, yeah, I'm like $300 an hour. And I'm like, dude, I don't care. I'm like, I don't think you understand. I'm like, this guy holds $100,000 contract for me. And I got to do this house. And I don't really care if it loses money. I just
now
make
Alex
sure
will
it's
do
not
that. He'll do a walkthrough with you now.
Yeah.
He's out on his own.
Yeah. He's on his own. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Doing his thing.
Alex is super smart dude.
I will tell you this in my look, this is going to be, I promise anybody, I'm not getting paid by Alex to make this comment, but my hour or hour and a half with Alex Meany, I didn't do many, maybe once or twice, but I learned more in that hour and a half than I ever did in like the 4 nights of watching the training videos, which were like super in depth, right? Like the training videos were like, click this, move this here, do that. And I was like, oh my God, I've got to go to sleep. I'm just trying to stay awake to watch this content. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so boring. I'm drowning over here. And then you get with Alex and Alex is like, that don't matter. Let me tell you what matters. Say, move this, do that. Psh, this does that. The wall load's not even that important. It is important, but it's not that important. And you're like over here is like tech. You're like, yes.
Yes. You talk so fast.
Tell me what really matters because I don't want to waste my life over here. Right.
Yep.
So yeah, there was that's how I got into loads. Then I got Eager Beaver and ran. All right, I know I'm taking up a lot of show content time. I'm just gonna go there because you brought it up, Eric. But and then I got with Leaf Wismar, who is an engineer next to me, and we met in odd circumstances, but we became like really, really good friends. Like one of my best friends.
When did you meet?
Oh man, I would probably say. Right about the same time I was doing loads because he was doing engineering work for me commercially. And so
Right.
when the houses came up, I'd go to Leaf, and Leaf was like, dude, I don't have time for that. He's like, you should do it yourself. He's like, that way you'll know how to do it. And he was probably encouraging me to learn it, but really he was like, hey, please don't burden me with that because I don't have time for that
Eric,
stuff.
have you met him?
Leaf, yeah, I met him at the first symposium. He was with Chris at the first symposium. Yeah,
Yeah,
smart dude.
Awesome. Awesome
Super
dude.
smart guy, super smart guy. And so I didn't want to
And
burden
funny.
him. Yeah, he's really funny. And so he encouraged me to keep going down this path. And it led to like some really, really great knowledge. That's when I started doing blower doors commercially with him. I would take on these radical jobs that were like problematic buildings in New Orleans and things. And we kind of got known for a duo pair of people who would go in and fix really jacked up situations. He was always lead man because he knew more than me. In an aspect of airflow, building structure, static pressure, stack effect, all of that. That was all Leaf. But man, I was like, it was like you had just dumped like next level HVAC in front of me. And I was like, Leaf, this is the coolest stuff ever. Like, why are we not all figuring, like working this out? And I always looked at that. It was like, that's what engineers do. Okay. So I was really like super interested in that. And then, I met Steve Rogers and the rest is history. Now I work for the Energy Conservatory as a person who focuses mainly on HVAC. But I can talk the blower door talk too. But there's what a lot of people don't know. I guess a lot of people on social media know me, but there's Jake McAlpine in our company who came from he was like the director of Minnesota for weatherization. He's now like in Paul's place. And he's like the blower door, specialist. And I'm more like the HVAC guy coming in. Nice. But we cross train. So like me and Jake spend time together and we talk to each other and we go over like our history and things. And we're about to beef that up heavily to kind of cross train each other on everything. Nice. So anyway, enough about me. You guys.
I want to know what Eric did early on, man.
What I did?
Yeah.
Early on when?
You start off residential or commercial?
Yeah, I started residential. So okay. I've been around the trades. Well, growing up, like I said, my dad was in charge of all of the electrical and plumbing maintenance and HVAC maintenance at this college. So he was the college is kind of unique in that it's a 4-year college, but it's a work college, so all the students are required to work on campus certain number of hours a week. And that's a completely student-run, student-managed program. So he had a student assistant and student workers that were all under him. So he literally every year he had to train a new crop of students or part of his crew of students to do electrical and plumbing and pieces of HVAC and things like that.
Sounds like work release. Are we sure this was a school?
It's legitimate school. Like one of the
handcuffs, nothing, right?
No, none of that. None of that. But I mean, I learned a lot of stuff from him, and I started working. I think I got my first job when I was 15, and worked in all kinds of different stuff.
That's illegal in New York, but that's fine.
Well, I had to go get a permit. A work permit.
Oh, okay.
And I could only work for so many hours a week.
I worked under the table for cash at a little pasta joint in New York. I was like 16.
I cannot believe that at all.
Did you make pasta from scratch?
No,
he just threw it at people.
I was a little Italian boy that grabs your food when you're done. That's it. They made me do the dishes too, So
yeah, I mean, I've been around trades like from really young age, so it was kind of natural. But I haven't done HVAC all my life. I didn't get into HVAC until I was in my
sound like a part timer.
Man, I'm trying to think late 20s.
Okay.
Oh, that's pretty long, man. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much your whole life. Let's be honest.
I mean, I was. I've been, I think this is 18 years this year for me.
Yeah.
No, maybe 19.
Eric's humble. That's why.
18.
Yeah.
But I mean, I sold, I started out actually in an appliance store, delivering home appliances, doing, setup, delivery, then worked into repairs,
I know a few people who that's the path they took. You know, they were really good at troubleshooting appliances and then moved into the HVAC community. That's interesting.
Hey, come on, that's part of HVAC, man. That's
I mean,
It is, yeah.
It is, and troubleshooting's troubleshooting because, at least in the way I think of it, because it's just a process. It's just saying, okay, this is how it's supposed to work. This is what it's doing. It's stopping here. Look at this component. You know, and whether I transition from going out my shop and working on a vehicle or whatever else, it's the same basic process to me in my brain. That's the way it works. I sold I worked for a Harley Davidson dealership for a year, sold bikes and parts at a Harley shop, worked for an automotive parts company for a while, did everything from deliveries to driving their delivery trucks, worked on the counter, did mixed paint for automotive paints.
Huff paint.
Yep, Douglas Eichen on there. Yeah, Woods Paulson. That's where he and I both started at the same company.
When did you decide to go into the transition of like teaching and doing all the videos with?
So I started really kind of. I figured out that I enjoyed teaching in the probably late 2000s. I got involved with an RSES chapter, and like I'd been in the trade maybe 5 years at the time, probably. I guess, yeah, probably about 5 years. And I was involved with the RSES chapter, had been for a couple of years, and every winter they would do one of the manuals. So they wanted to go through heat pumps that winter, and they looked at me and they said, "Eric, you know more about heat pumps than anybody else here." And I'm like, I'm looking around and there's guys that have been, that are sitting
5 years in.
Yeah, I'm 5 years in. They're like 30 to 40 years in. And they're like, "You're teaching." And I'm going, "Me? What? Are you kidding me?"
That'll throw you right in the fire.
Oh man, it was right in feet first. And I was like, I didn't feel really comfortable with it, even as I got into it, but I started to get more comfortable as I went along. And
that's cool.
It really forced me to learn a lot more, because I thought I knew a lot. And I'll tell you this, as soon as you start teaching something, you realize how little you know.
Yeah. When they start asking those questions.
Yeah, they start asking questions and you're like, "Oh, do I know that?"
Circle back to you.
Hang on. I'll be back next week.
All right, Mike, what about you, man? What's your story?
Well, I mean,
how did you get here?
Always been mechanically inclined, man. I was a gearhead when I was little, tearing apart my dad's trophies, baseball trophies.
Did you hot rod them?
Is that when you got kicked out? And had to move in with your grandma?
I got kicked out when I was about 12 years old. They come home, I'd be opening up their clock radio, you know, like trying to put it back together.
So you were that kid that everybody was like, "I don't really want him coming over because he just breaks my stuff."
Yeah, I go over to my buddy's house, I break all the stuff. I can fix it. Don't worry about it. So high school, a buddy of mine was like, "Hey, they're hiring for this place." It was like kind of like it was called Jillian's. Now it's Dave and Buster's. So got a job there in the game room doing nothing. And they were like, the night before they opened, they go, "Hey, you and this other guy come in here. Can you guys fix bowling machines?" And I was like, "No, but I'll give it a shot." So they're like, guy, night before we open, grand opening, guy gives me the manual. He goes, "Here you go. I got to get on a plane to go back to Muskegon, Michigan. Read this." I read the book, and I became a bowling mechanic at like 17. So
that's awesome.
And I just read the manual, you know, just RTFM, and then I went to night classes to the BOCES program in New York, and that was tough, man. You know, working the day and going to school at night, and got into it with a small pop company that did, I guess, supermarkets, and that I tell you, man, that scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, man. Supermarket work ain't no joke.
Dude,
That's some
going
real
up-
deal stuff.
they going up the Widowmaker stairs, and then while I was going through school, family moved down here, so came down after I worked with that one company, and just moved into residential. Residential, I felt more comfortable with being green and trade, because it's a tough trade, man, when you're starting off. And
Yeah, it is.
residential felt like home for me, man.
HVAC Overtime said he would never have the balls for supermarket work. I'm thinking that's A-Team Adam. I'm not sure. But yeah, man, I probably had the opportunity for supermarket work if I wanted to do it. I was always scared of my having to be worked like round the clock. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, I don't want to get up at 1 a.m. and go fix
Yeah, dude.
ice cream that's thawing. Like,
Dude, there was
no.
guys sleeping in their trucks. I was like, what did I get myself into? I'm gonna go back to the bowling alley, man. This is crazy.
Bowling machines.
Yeah, the bowling machines are serious business.
I got
you know?
this old Italian guy that owns like the company. He's like yelling, screaming at the guy. He goes, "Get that pipe, Jerry." He's like, "I want it, Jerry." Screaming at the guy. I'm like, what is going on? They sent me in a hole one time. There was a refrigerant leak on the line set, and it was like just a crawl. I don't know if you guys have that around here, but
Yeah, I know what because you're talking about the tunnels under the supermarkets where they run the line sets, right? Or the lines, the refrigerant
yeah, it's no
lines in there.
conspiracy talk. No, it's definitely a tunnel, man.
Wait, what? Hold on. This is something I don't know. Are you telling me in supermarkets you can get to where the line sets are under the building? Like
Sometimes
yeah.
some of them
you-
run them in tunnels under there. Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
never go under in that tunnel. I'm
Well,
sorry.
So, dude,
I can't
I'm
imagine.
not doing that.
Picture that. A month
Nope.
in.
I can't
No,
imagine
green.
going in there with a refrigerant leak.
I'm not going in there, period.
Well, that's what I'm getting to. Now, hold on now. Hold up.
Hold up.
I go in the back, right, where they crush the boxes, So I get in there, and I see this guy. He's a real heavy set dude. He's sitting next to a box fan, a $10 Walmart fan, and he's got it over a hole. And I go, well, what is he doing? He goes, go down there, find the leak. And I'm like, me? I crawl down the hole.
Uh-uh.
Go down there, right? And I feel like I'm about half to where I hear the hissing, and I go, oh man, what did I go down here for again? And I shook my head. I was like, I forgot what the hell I'm doing. So I go back, and I'm breathing heavy. And he goes, dude, just listen. You got to tip your head over, get the refrigerant out of your lungs. I was like, what the hell's going on? I got so much displacement of refrigerant in my lungs. I was like, pass out level.
Yeah, you're out of
Oh,
oxygen.
wow. In a concrete tunnel.
That's
Under the-
Yes.
Hmm.
Well, that box fan was doing a lot of work. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, I want to see that in the manual.
dude, that's why I wanted to go to residential, man.
residential. Here we
All
go.
right, guys. On that note, watching the clock, and we got to get to the top five. Grapevine Live, top five.
Top 5.
Here
Top
we go.
five.
Boom. Grapevine Live, top five. Here we go. All right. Tonight's top five list. The top 5 reasons the HVAC industry should embrace A2Ls.
Oh man, here we
That's
go.
the topic.
Are you serious?
That's the topic. Are you ready?
Oh geez.
All right.
Here we go.
15.
Starting off with number 5.
Number
Ready?
They're all pros. All pros.
First off, everyone else is doing it. That's number 5. Other countries are doing it, right?
All the manufacturers are doing it.
All the manufacturers are doing it. We got to do it, right?
It's
We don't
nothing
wanna
like good
be
old
last.
peer pressure, baby.
That's right. We're being peer
They've been doing it in
pressured right
China
into
for
it.
years. Man up.
All right, number 4. When the outdoor unit goes up in flames, it's going to make the insurance claim a whole lot easier.
Oh, boo, boo.
I'm just saying. I mean, the insurance guy comes out and goes, "What happened?" Be like, "It caught on fire."
Paperwork is easy.
Yeah, paperwork's easier. On fire, done.
Yeah.
Right.
Char.
What happens when the technician catches on fire?
Oh, that's a 2 insurance claim, right? That's a workman's comp.
Oh, that's a
claim.
twofer.
Yeah, new unit and technician gets paid. Now they have to go shop in
That's
for
why I
the
got
technician.
money in Band-Aids and
That's
burn cream.
right. Yeah,
I'm going to be a millionaire.
Mike knows what's going on.
Uh-huh.
All right. Number 3.
Diversify your bonds, baby.
This one's important, okay? Because this is serious. This is political. This is number 3. If the government decides to start taking our guns, we can use this refrigerant and build flamethrowers. You know what I'm saying?
The Tesla flamethrower, man.
That's right. That's right. We're prepared.
That's
All
right.
right. Number 2. This one's serious. It should lead to a significant reduction of people huffing refrigerant. Boom. You know what I'm saying?
So I don't need locking caps.
You will. Yeah, we could just eradicate locking caps. I mean,
That's it.
there'll probably be a few deaths, right, on TV. And once that happens, your refrigerant is there to stay in your unit. You want to talk
Somebody
about
stole my refrigerant to barbecue.
That's right.
Who cares? Locking caps are done, man.
All right. Last one. Number 1 reason we should be looking forward to this. You ready?
Number one.
Number 1.
Hang on. I think we need something before number 1.
All right. Hit me with it.
Okay.
This puts us one step closer to getting back to the good old days where we could vent our refrigerant.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Because the next step beyond A2Ls is A3s and natural refrigerants. And of course, we
Right.
can vent all of those.
Bring back
Let it
Cajun
out.
recovery, man.
We don't
Bring
have
back the
recovery.
Cajun. All right. So what did you? Well,
Cajun recovery. Did you just say that?
Yeah.
Cajun
Yeah, I did.
recovery.
All
No,
right.
my
all right.
favorite, my favorite alternative recovery machine I've ever heard of is a hacksaw with rear view mirrors.
Hacksaw. Say what now?
A hacksaw with rear view mirrors.
I would say. So, do you know what Cajun recovery is? If you don't, I gotta tell you.
I have never
funny.
heard this term before. I can only
Not that I
can't-
did it. I'm just telling you what I was told.
okay.
Yeah, this is a
Right.
rumor.
This is a rumor. That's right, Michael. This is a rumor.
Mhm.
But I heard through the grapevine that you would fill a bucket full of water, and then you would put your middle hose right in the bucket, and you would just let her rip, and it would look like the water's boiling, right, just like a crawfish boil.
Look, a little bubble.
That's the Cajun recovery.
So you don't do this in a bayou.
No, man,
No,
you got to go
no.
get a bucket of water, right?
You
Out
don't
of
want
the
to hurt.
bayou.
Don't hurt the crayfish.
Somebody
Come on
thought
now.
it was funny. So what? I mean, I don't know. What did y'all call it? What was like the term in y'all's area? If
We had-
anybody's got a funny one, I want to hear it.
We had
Throw it in the
recovery
chat.
rags.
A recovery rags.
I had a guy. I pulled up on a
Cover
job.
the end of
and
the
a guy-
hose. That way nobody can see it coming out.
Pulled up on a job. A guy used a sock. Only in Florida, baby. Florida.
The
Florida.
real question is, when he had the sock, was he missing a sock? Because if he was, that would be priceless.
Florida man.
What part of Florida is like? Wait! You're telling me I'm supposed to bring a separate sock? Could you imagine somebody taking their sock off?
Pulls up his pant legs and only got one sock left.
His poor wife had so many questions.
What is that's how do you bill out a service ticket? One sock. one vent sock, you know? Nice.
My goodness. This
All right.
this show has devolved quickly.
I know. I
But
thought it was
But
fun.
the A2Ls, man, they're not as bad as we thought they were. I don't want to upset Jason. You know,
Yeah, don't
Mr.
upset Jason.
Objute. Don't upset the Objute.
He probably just tuned out when we started this.
Yeah, I feel-
he heard that and he was like, "Guys, I'm out."
I feel bad because he's got a great video on that. So
I mean,
Yeah.
he just
the dude is like he was on all the committees for forming a lot of this
Yes.
stuff, and yeah, he knows his stuff. He knows what he's doing.
I just listened to his video like a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, after listening to him, I was like, not too bad.
Yeah,
So
I mean, there is some stuff to learn, and we're going to see some different. We're going to have to use some different recovery equipment.
Oh yeah.
And vacuum pumps, because it's going to have to be rated for flammable or hazardous locations. There's going to have to be
so your technician's going to need a vacuum pump and a different recovery machine.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be A2L approved, right?
Okay.
And I told a distributor this once. I thought this was a really good idea. So if there's any distributors out there listening, I think this is smart. If I owned like a supply house, I would have like an A2L wall, right? It'd be like, hey, get A2L ready. And I think it's a good idea. Plus, it helped get the word out.
Yeah.
It's like, who doesn't want to walk in, like if your vacuum pump dies and you go to, supply house and you're like, I need a new vacuum pump. I mean, how easy of a sell would it be to be like, what's that wall all about? Well, that's the A2L wall. You should probably get one of those if you're trying to protect yourself for the future and be prepared. I mean, you wouldn't even sell any of the other pumps, personally. I mean, maybe you would, maybe you wouldn't, but I know if I was, buying one, that's how I would get it.
Yeah, we got enough time, man. Got enough time.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to happen slowly. And like I said earlier, the HFCs aren't going away entirely. It's not like R22 where it was phased out completely.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we're just going down to a much lower level of the HFCs.
Yeah, and I think we should put Jason's video in the description, a little reference. It was a good video.
Jason, give me that video and we'll add it to the show. We'll promise we'll keep the price really cheap. All right, guys. Look, we're closing in on an hour. I got to go bathe kids.
Hey, whoa. Hold on.
And it's my birthday, by the way.
Oh, it is your birthday. Yeah.
It's
So
my
everybody
birthday.
say happy birthday to Chris.
Happy birthday, bro.
Raise a glass of something, whatever you're drinking.
So I'm going to give a shout out to somebody who's not in the HVAC industry. And if you're looking for something to do on a Saturday night and not go anywhere and not spend a lot of money, I'm just going to say this. Get on Netflix and watch Dusty Slay. I'm just saying, that dude is hilarious. He's a comedian. My wife got me the shirt for my birthday.
Having a good time.
Right? Look, Dusty Slay.
Nice.
Look. And he has this skit where he goes, "We're having a good time." Dude, it's hilarious. So yeah, I got to see him when he comes in town.
Speaking of having a good time, when are we doing this again?
Next month, once a month. That's the plan. Didn't want to stress myself out. I got a lot of things to do. I'm a pretty important person, Eric. You know what I mean?
I know you are.
That TEC schedule, man.
Yeah, it's chaotic, man. Last month I was away more days than I was at home, but that's going to slow down a little bit from
working on the road, brother.
Working on the road. It's fun though, man. I get to meet a lot of people in this room I've gotten to meet. It's cool stuff. I'm really enjoying it. Really happy. Yep.
Yeah. It's, being on the road is it can be tiring, but like you said, it can be really rewarding too.
Yes. When I got home this Friday, I was talking to Steve and he was like, "Hey, did you make a good landing?" Talking about like coming back in from like outer space. He's like, "Man, that day back is like you're just in a fog." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know exactly what you mean." Because like you're going and you're out there, you're doing your thing, entertaining people the whole nine. And you're on like a 2-hour time zone swap. So it's like it's nuts when you come back home and you didn't keep yourself on your time zone when you're out. It's a radical switch. But
then trying to get an early flights or late flights, and it throws you all, man, it messes you all up.
Yeah, it's not like when you pick your plane tickets, you're just like, what time I want to leave. This time, it's like the only options you have is like, oh, I'll get home at like midnight. And that's the only flight that's like half the price of all the other ones. And you're like, all right.
Yeah. And that's when the plane lands. That's not when you actually get home. Cause then you gotta go find your car.
Yeah. I've timed it. It's an hour and a half. When my plane lands and hits the runway, I will be home an hour and a half from then.
There you go. So yeah.
So we'll be doing this in one more month, huh?
One more month,
guys.
First Sunday of the month.
So if you haven't subscribed, subscribe, notification, leave a remark. Appreciate everybody for the happy birthdays. That's awesome. Good stuff.
Get in the Grapevine group.
get in the Grapevine group, get in on the chat, ask your questions. A lot of these people, you know, Jason and all those guys, they're in there. You can ask them A2L questions. I'm sure they'd be happy to answer.
And when you guys are in the Grapevine, just whatever you guys want to recommend for a guest on the show, just put it in the comments, man, on Facebook, and hit us up on the YouTube channel too.
For sure. And
give us a like, man. Give us
next month we're gonna be discussing women in HVAC. That is the topic. So you know, just putting that bug in your ear. Women in HVAC. That's next month. And I do have the guest. You guys don't know, but I got one, and she's freaking cool. Like she's legit.
Nice.
So that's what's in store for next week. I mean, next month. Sorry,
next month, not next week.
Next month. No.
Yeah, we all decided our schedules were way too full to do this every week. I don't know how the guys that do this every week get it done.
I don't know. I need to talk to A-Team Adam and how they pull that off.
Dude, I don't know how the overtime guys do it, man.
I don't know.
Awesome.
They are.
Maybe we'll get there. You know, I don't know. Maybe when the sponsors start rolling in and we become super rich, you know.
Yeah,
that's when we'll just go at it weekly.
We're making, you know, millions of pennies a year at least.
Yes. All right, guys. I think that's it, huh?
Yeah, that's it for tonight, I guess.
All right. Here goes the outro. Thanks everybody for showing. We appreciate you being here.
Peace.
Thanks for joining, and we will catch you next time on the HVAC Grapevine.